There it is. It's all finished. This is Dutch apple pie. Thank you for watching my channel, Doing Great Things. Welcome to my channel, Just Doing Great Things. Today, the oldest recipe that I've been doing since I was 5. This is Dutch apple pie. My grandmother and I would get into the kitchen. She taught me how to make this recipe. It's absolutely fantastic, and I hope you enjoy. Today's recipe is calling for 1 cup of flour, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, 1 stick, and I use Parkay margarine. Maybe anyone will do, but that's what I've always used. You're going to need cinnamon, you're going to need sugar, and you're going to need a pie crust. Whether you buy a pie crust or make a pie crust, it does not matter. What's important in this recipe is the top crust and the apples that go in it. I was lucky enough, my wife was making pie crust for a function we have today, and she made me a pie crust. So let's go. The first thing you need to do is to peel the apples. You can tell I've already peeled some. I didn't think that y'all needed to sit there and watch me peel apples for 10 or 15 minutes. That would be an extremely boring video. But I tried to take the peel off this, going around and around, trying to save as much apple as I can. Getting all the peeling off. And then I'm going to divide it in quarters. I'm going to cut this center out. Just kind of whittle around it. And I've got the other pieces resting in water. I feel like they don't turn brown as quick if they are sitting in water. And that's definitely better for it. You don't want brown apples. I mean, it doesn't even sound good. The apples I'm using are Jonathan apples. They're tough to come by here in Arkansas anymore. When I was younger, you could find Jonathan apples for a long period of time in Arkansas. And and my grandmother, she always used Jonathan apples. They're perfect for baking apple pies. A lot of people like the Granny Smith or the Pippins or something like that. But with my grandmother, it was always Jonathan apples. And so therefore, that's what I always used. Now that you can hardly find them in Arkansas, one type of apple that I've found that works almost as good is the Honey Crisp. So anytime you can't find Jonathan apples, you might try a Honey Crisp, because they're about as close as I've found. All right, the next step, we're going to take those very same apples and we are going to slice them up into small pieces. Those small pieces will look something like this. About that thick. And that's what makes this pie fantastic. The big chunks of apples, they just don't quite do it for me. And this is how my grandmother did it. So you know what? You can do no wrong if you're my grandma. And you'll take all these apples and slice them up into small pieces. And then we will be ready to add the sugar and cinnamon. All right, this time we've got these all sliced up just about, and it's time to add the cinnamon and the sugar. And I'm going to start with since I'm making a pretty good sized pie, we got family coming over, I'm going to start with a 1/3 cup of sugar and start with 1 tablespoon of cinnamon. And we're going to see how close we are to getting this right the first time. Now just get your hands into it. I'm sure you could probably use a spoon, but to me, I've always done it this way. And we've been blessed with 2 hands And these hands are machines. They can do things that spoons and spatulas and that kind of stuff can't do. So I'm going to go with what I've got, and I'm going to use my hands. Now, that being said, so far in doing this recipe, I've already washed my hands probably 8 to 10 times. I am a hand washing machine, and if you're making food for other people, wash your hands constantly, frequently, because nobody wants, you know, unsafe food or contamination of any kind. Now at this point, I've got these mixed together pretty good. You know, these apples are going to dictate how much sugar you need, and the amount of sugar you need is going to dictate how much cinnamon you need. So I'm going to test these here in just a second, and I'm going to find out how they taste. I'm going to take one out, and I think I guessed pretty good, folks. I think I guessed pretty good. How about that? Well, every once in a while I get lucky. All right, for this next part, we're going to start out with a heaping cup of flour, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and I like to take these and mix it once again with the best tools we got in the kitchen. They're called your hands, and I like to get that mixed up so it's even. Also, you can check it out and see if there's any lumps in it, and you don't want lumps in it. Take those lumps and break them up with your fingers. Okay. All right, now we got something to work with here. I have sliced this margarine up. I'm just going to spread that out in there. And it's little pieces. Easier to combine that way. Now the thing about this margarine, I want to handle it as little as possible, because the more you handle it, the more it is going to melt, and the more difficult it is to work with it. And I want to take this nice little device, and I'm going to just start combining it together. And the reason I'm not using my hands for this is because my hands are warm. This cutting tool is not warm, and warm hands melts butter or melts margarine. So I'm going to cut it in first with this, and at the end we'll go back to using our hands again. But it's just less times that I've got to handle this margarine, because like I said, if you handle the margarine, it melts and it makes it really sticky to work with, and that's not good. Looks like it's coming together pretty good. I'm going to get it to a point where I feel like I can work with it with my hands, and I'm going to finish it off. Make sure we get this off this tool, because you need that margarine in there, correct? Don't want to waste that margarine by leaving it on the tool. All right, I'm going to zoom in on this so you can see exactly what we're working with. You can see the chopped up margarine in there with the flour and the brown sugar. I think it's to the point now where I can use my hands. I'm going to start just kind of squeezing it together, and it combines it together. Once again, the less we have to handle this, the better off we're going to be. Now, is there better ways to do this? If you've got a better way to do this, then you go ahead and do what you do. But this is the way I've done it my whole life, so I'm going with that. We all do our own things in the kitchen. whether it works for me or you or whatever. We're going to find our own ways and do it like we do it. I'm trying to get this to come together without being too sticky. That's the key, because here in a few minutes we're going to start working with this, putting it on the pie, and we're going to be in trouble if it's too sticky. All right, this is coming together pretty good. For this next part, we're going to put the apples into the pie crust, the beautiful pie crust my wife made for me. Now, one part of me says just dump them in there. The other part of me knows better, because I've learned the hard way. Down in the bottom of this is going to be some liquid, and you don't want that liquid in your pie crust, because we are making a pie, not soup. Okay? So you want to put them in there with your hands so that you can keep the juices out of there. This is going to be plenty juicy without needing that juice that's in this pan. Here we go. I think that is good just like that. And I'm going to call that good. It's the moment of truth. Now we get to start taking pinches of this dough ball and start making the topping. Just trying to cover up the whole entire pie. It will expand a little bit. And you're just pinching it off a little bit at a time, trying to cover the entire surface. Now, once again, to keep you from having to watch 10 minutes of me putting this together, I'm going to use the magic of YouTube, and I am going to stop the video, and when you come back it should be totally covered. With the miracles of videography, here it is. The topping is on there and it looks good. Next we bake. Preheated the oven to 350. It's now warmed up, and here is a lesson learned, folks. I advise you to put this on a pan, something underneath this pie, because eventually it is going to bubble over, and you sure don't want that bubbling over into your oven to where you have to clean it and it's going to stink. So put it on a pan like this, and just go ahead and put it in the oven and get it going. Looks like it is done. I'll put this up here. Yeah, it's set up nice. There it is. It's all finished. This is Dutch apple pie. Thank you for watching my channel, Doing Great Things. Welcome to my channel, Doing Great Things. I just want to make something clear to everybody. I am not a chef. I wouldn't really call myself a cook. What I am is a history teacher, but I get some kind of enjoyment about going into the kitchen, following a recipe, making some good food, sharing it with other people, and that's why I do this. I've got a lot of my students that's asked for recipes, and I thought, well, you know, what a great opportunity to teach some young people how to cook. Doing simple recipes that I think they should be able to do, and it's a skill. So I'm doing this, number one, for fun, number two, to teach kids how to cook. And I just hope y'all give me some grace. I am not a trained chef. I don't know everything, and I do mess up. Hopefully you enjoy what I do. Doing great things.